Hello, everyone. Hi, Allison.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely.
Hey, hello, everybody.
Hey, Tiffany, how are you?
Doing
Hey,
good.
Kim.
How are you?
Just fine. I'm glad everybody's joining in. We'll give
Hello,
little-
everybody.
hello, hello. Yamali, Leonard is going to pull up our PowerPoint, and she'll kind of navigate through that as we facilitate the conversation, as you facilitate the conversation. We'll give everybody a little bit of time to join us. Hey, Lakeisha, I just saw you jump in.
Hey, Natalie.
How's
Did we
it
just
going?
leave? Did we just leave another meeting?
We did.
It's going well.
Yeah. All around housing, right?
Yes, ma'am. Ready to serve.
That's it. That's it. Hopefully this group will talk a little bit about what we just were meeting about too. So we've got about a minute after our start time. We'll give people a couple of minutes. Yamali, are you good with that? We'll give people a couple of more minutes before we get started.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So while we wait, if everybody could just drop your name and agency in the chat like we do each meeting, that'll give us a clear understanding of who all was here. If we need to reach back out, that'd be great. And out of respect for everyone's time, I know everybody is pulled in many directions. We'll give about 2 more minutes and then we'll just jump in.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we see.
Okay, you see the presentation and the speaker.
Yes, I see both.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
And all right. Well, I say we get started out of respect for everyone's time. I want to thank everyone for coming to the Housing Subcommittee meeting. This work group has certainly been busy, and I think this is a good time for us to just kind of revisit what things we have achieved and where we want to go next. So welcome to this meeting, September 23rd. You want to advance it, Lenarda, and we'll just do some housekeeping, just some quick reminders that if you'll type your name in the chat box, that would help us for recording who's in attendance. And then if you would like to participate in the conversation, if you'll use the raise your hand feature by Zoom, or if you're calling in, you can use toggle 6. *6 to toggle from mute to unmute, or *9 to raise or lower your hand. This is certainly an interactive conversation. The meeting is being recorded, and we really need everyone's full participation to move the work along. I will turn it over to our chair, Ms. Yamali.
Hi, everyone. I hope everybody had a wonderful break. As Natalie mentioned before, so basically we are going to, hold on just a second, go over the action that we are currently working on. Now that we have a list put together, so we are looking for a volunteer to put a script together. From my understanding, from the last meeting, we did get a few volunteers that agreed to put a list together. So anyone here that remember volunteering to put the script together to for the call out to the landlord, they could just send us, tell me who they are, because just give us a quick reminder of who they were.
Is Allison on the call? Not Allison Jordan, I'm sorry. Allison from Wake CLC.
Hey, yes, I'm here.
I can't remember. I'm not trying to volunteer you, but I thought I vaguely remember you offering to help us with this maybe, or is this something that would be in your wheelhouse to help us with?
I think for when I was last on the call, and thanks again for letting me join. I know we talked a little bit about HMIS and using some of that, for people who are in need of referral to maybe an emergency shelter or street outreach program, just making that connection a little stronger and potentially getting some agencies in HMIS. I don't know if the landlord list per se would be something the partnership would be able to really give a whole lot of advice on. I know we did formally have a housing navigation unit at the partnership, so that might have been something that was discussed before, but that is moving to Wake County. So
Natalie.
to share.
Is that you, Lakeisha?
Yes, just because I was helping with the team doing the scripting component, we were talking with Jasmine in regard to like
That was
some of that
Jasmine.
language. Jasmine at the partnership about the particular language.
Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely make sure that's on Jasmine's radar as well, or just remind her to reach out. I'm sorry I didn't have much else on that, but thank you for letting me know.
Yeah, you were right, Allison. You really, you and Eric were really talking about HMIS, which we're going to bring back around on the agenda today to talk about, because it really aligns with our priority area number 2. And so that's going to come up, and I'd really like your participation in that part of the discussion, because that will come back up. So I think what Yamali is asking is that, is there, now that we've got this landlord list and we've got 4 people who volunteered to do the landlord calling, I think that was Dr. Rochelle, Lakeisha, Miss Corbett, and Karen McCrimmon from Oxford House.
For house.
And so I think our next ask is, how do we now pull together that script? Lakeisha was a part of that team, and thank you for reminding us it was Jasmine Vocal from the partnership. But is there anyone else on the call who feels like you could really be instrumental in helping us pull together that script for calling, so that we can get that going? Because that's our next step, to call landlords before we pull people back together and formalize the list. So why don't we go with trying to schedule a meeting, Lakeisha, with you, Yamali, and I will set up a meeting with Jasmine. And we can talk with her to get the wording for that. And then we can take care of that piece and engage then the volunteers who were interested in doing the calling.
Okay, I think that's good. And we're smart people. We can come up with something.
Oh, absolutely.
And then just vet it out with the experts who's been calling people. I think that's what we want to do. We want to not recreate the wheel. If there's something that's already been done, or they're talking a certain language, we want to just mimic that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And also, I think we could, while we do that, we also wanted to at least some feedback, or maybe some, due to the impact of, the climate change and our circumstances. I guess that's one of the things that we need to take under consideration, and how do we approach people as well. So that's one of the things that we wanted to talk about, and have some feedback with anyone who has some experience or anything that they could help us with how to change our approach because of everything that's going on right now, especially with the coronavirus, and how landlords are seeing or have a perspective of accepting certain clients or certain tenants. So we wanted to get some feedback as well.
I will share, I just know that bi-weekly here at the partnership, I'm the by name list case or the by name list coordinator here, and bi-weekly we have a case conferencing meeting where case managers do bring up any barriers they're working with clients. A lot of them are sharing these same concerns of having difficulty finding landlords that will accept various backgrounds, any previous evictions. And what we really try to create that space to be is a resource sharing, tips that have worked, where they found success. So I'd be happy to, include anyone who's interested in that meeting. Just, it does occur twice a month. And we do have that resource sharing ability there.
I'm curious, Allison, have you guys heard anything about, temperature check, how landlords are feeling since the moratorium? How should that impact our approach to building this resource list? Ms. Corbett, you're out doing the work, so is there how should this impact our approach for this priority?
Yeah, I think what I hear a lot of case managers saying is similar to what I'm hearing here, is they're the ones who've really had to be the advocate for their client. If they can provide any, information on a client's history that maybe isn't on their rental record, or showing this is the progress they've made to improve in whatever aspect. It's really just been them, calling those landlords and doing that same advocation. I'm not sure what their script is like, but I could definitely get some ideas on what they're saying and how they're making those approaches to landlords.
Okay. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Ms. Corbett.
Hi, I was just listening in. Something I really thought of this morning as I was thinking about this, I've been working with landlords, of course, all along, but right now, as you were saying, how has everything affected our landlords? There are some who are still, pretty approachable, but right now they're hurting. As I've said many, many times before, the landlords were catching the brunt of this because with the moratorium, it was in favor of the tenants and not the landlords. And so now that we've got past that stage of moratorium, you have a lot of landlords who are evicting a lot of people because of non-payment. Some were COVID related and some are not, but they got to ride the boat along with everyone else. One of the things I thought about is that since many of our clients have not had a good track record of rental for a while, or of course, they got the barrier of having the criminal background history, but also it's more the track record, and they're working now, but they've been on their jobs a short while. So those things are even more, I think, important than the history. So one of the things that I would suggest as you approach landlords is this is what I would do. And I've done in the past. I don't approach it just as this one particular group. You have to let them know that you're a part of a bigger picture than just placing folks who have, those backgrounds. It does not mean that you don't use the information. Your information is going to be the same, but to get the information and to get the buy-in, I think they will feel more comfortable knowing that we're a part of a large group. The council itself is a much larger group, and not everyone is dealing with only those coming out of incarceration. So when they know that they are going to be getting clients across the board, or that they'll be getting referrals across the board, even though those from the subcommittee or from the LRC will be for our benefactors, I think painting the larger picture will work better for you. I can only say it has for me in the past and even now, and getting landlords to buy in to allow placement.
That's an excellent point.
I'm sorry, someone's trying to call me. What do you all think? Hello?
Well, I think it's a good point that you raised. I know that question came up, how do we introduce ourselves and to start the conversation? Who do we tell them that we are? And so I think that raises the same question. We talk about the bigger picture. We talk about being the council, and do we go from that angle? What does everybody else think? I think that's a very valid point, though, Ms. Corbett.
Well, I don't think we have to go into a lot of detail, about the fact that, our benefactors are those who are coming out of incarceration. That's what we're working with right now. But if you look at the larger council, we are a spectrum of businesses and organizations across the county, throughout the county, who are working with families and individuals who are in need of housing. And then from that point, you go into what we can offer for those individuals that our group works with, and then, other individuals within the council. This information is going to be shared with the council. So, and it would be inclusive of, just let them know, it would be inclusive of some who are coming out of incarceration or may have been out at least within the last year, and that they are working and really focusing on putting their lives back together. So I think if you don't try to get into the detail, of criminal history, yada, 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 everything that sounds so negative, we know better, but they're not going to know. Unless they walk the walk, they're not going to know. And so I think presenting it in a more positive manner, and then allowing them to see the positive sides of it, what can be offered, even for those coming out of incarceration. If there's help with the deposit, if there's help with the first instrument, if there's any follow through, if these folks are being followed by the various organizations that they are participating with, even on the council, whether they're participating with an organization on the council or not. What benefits are there for the landlord? Because that's going to be the selling point. They're not interested in what's the benefit for the tenant right now. They've had a lot of benefits over this last year and a half, almost 2 years. But where is it going to leave them?
I agree, Betty. I absolutely agree. To show the strengths of, like, we're behind the tenant, to show that we're supporting the landlords. We're also supporting the tenants, but more so bring it up front, like those after services, like it's not going to drop them off to the landlords and keep moving.
Yes, I just thought of something. This is an idea.
Okay.
Because out of this subcommittee, those of us who are really familiar with housing, I think it would be kind of good to have some go-to people. For instance, if a landlord is having an issue, what resources are there out there for them? Who would they be able to turn to? How can they get their questions answered? Because they get the person at the front desk when they call a number. for those of us who have people within our network that we could call and get an answer. Even on this council, there are people that we could call and get an answer without them having to jump through 3, 4, 5 people before they get somewhat of an answer. I think that would be helpful to them, that we also offer, that resource information. I've done that with a couple of the organizations that are involved with the council.
Can I ask
with their landlords. I'm sorry.
This is Lenarda. I like what you're saying. I think that's a great idea. I just want you to share with me what type of an issue would a landlord have that they would need assistance with to help their resident.
Okay, let me give you a for real example. I won't name the agency, but the landlord happened to call me. I may have talked about this, and did not know who I was at first. She thought she knew me, but she wasn't sure. But anyway, because there are a lot of folks with the name Betty Corbett in Raleigh, right in this Southeast Raleigh, at least 3 of us that I'm aware of. But when the landlord called me and was explaining the situation, I began talking about what their possible remedies might be with this agency, because I said, now I know that agency. I've been doing this for a long time, and that is not the agency that I know. That is not their practice. I've never had that problem. And so after we talked a few more minutes, she said, Betty Corbett, she said, do you know? And she named the person. I said, yes. She was a longtime friend. And then she told me who she was. She gave me her married name now I did not recognize. So we were able to connect. And I've been working with this landlord since then, helping her, to diffuse some issues, because through the pandemic and through the moratorium, tenants were saying, well, why should I go to work? She was even trying to help some of them find jobs. They wouldn't go to work.
So let me clarify. Maybe I missed, what was a specific issue?
The specific issue was why should I go to work when I can live here for free? And you can't put me out anyway.
So that was the landlords reaching out to you because that was
they absolutely did not know what to do. They thought it was because of the staff person that was case managing these folk had actually made that statement. Well, they can't put you out anyway, so don't worry about it. It was like a offhand statement. You know how sometimes you just say, well, that's not going to happen right away. Let's just not worry about that. Let's, get this paperwork done. In actuality, the person was actually helping them fill out paperwork for rental assistance.
So
that the only thing the tenant came away with was, you can't put me out anyway.
Heard that, Betty. I know probably legal aid will have more to share about something like that happening.
No, actually, I reached out to the agency, to someone within the agency that I knew, to let them know what had happened. And then they gave me the supervisor's name over that unit, because I felt like they needed to know, because this person was new. This staff person was new and needed to be educated on how our tenants or people that we're working with as clients, whether they're tenants or whatever the reason we're working with them, how they can sometimes hear one thing and use that. And it was really upsetting to the landlord.
Can I ask this question?
Sure.
I understand what you're saying in that issue, in that particular instance. What about outside of a COVID environment? What are some of the other concerns that, from your experience, that landlords have had that are reoccurring, that for this, because I'm thinking
outside
about resources that a landlord could use. So, but I need to know what the needs are.
Yeah, outside of the pandemic, with the rental assistance, just talking about some of the information, for instance, that we get through HUD on when educating them about dealing with, let's say an individual who is a felon, nothing to do with pandemic. They just have a felony history, and the housing that they're applying for, it's received some type of funding. Landlords are able to reach out and get funding, but what they don't know is, because of that funding, They can't just say, well, I don't rent to felons. That's not allowed. So knowing those kinds of things, it's easier to help them understand or to educate the landlords on what's out here, what's available, even where they themselves could get help. There are things that are open to landlords that they don't even know about. For instance, help through the city of Raleigh. The landlord can
Yeah.
actually ask for help. It doesn't have to be the tenant or the person staying in the house. The landlord can reach out. There are low interest loans available to them. There are resources that they can reach out and get information on for their tenants who are having issues. It doesn't matter whether they were COVID related or not.
So maybe some resources for financial assistance. Does that sound like something that?
Financial assistance,
Loss mitigation. I mean, sounds
well,
like maybe
okay, let's say,
information from the county and the city around what they're
well,
doing.
and depending on the age of the person or whether that person has disabilities, there's all kinds of resources out there.
Okay.
For instance, if
Okay.
I were in a rental house and my air conditioning is not working, it needs to be replaced, and the landlord is griping about not having the monies and people not paying rent for whatever reason, that tenant can reach out to resources for seniors as long as the landlord will be in agreement.
Well, you know what? I
Okay.
think you bring up a really good point, Ms. Corbett, that maybe this is the type of information that we include when we do a roundtable. One of the next steps that you guys talked about was inviting some of these landlords in for a roundtable, and that might be the type of information that we share during that roundtable. Maybe we can invite someone from the county and from the city to share what resources they have available for landlords. That might be a really good way of doing that. And then what we have is the contact list for them moving forward to reach out to those parties. Just an idea.
I think,
And I,
well, I personally, just from landlords that I worked with, they're kind of like people. Anything that looks like a system is a taboo. I think that gathering that information and making it available to landlords, which is what I've done in the past, is just making it available, even letting them know, like when the housing conferences that we're going to have, I've given that information to the landlords, to some of them. I've reached out to some to let them know, because they can go to these same trainings that I go to. And that's what's really needful, that they have that kind of information so that they can go, for instance, they could appear at, like, not as a client, but come into an expungement clinic so they can learn some things for themselves. That's where they'll hear it from the experts. Inviting them to our meeting when we have legal aid there, so that they can hear what legal aid is saying, and not just coming from us or the typical system, and in a setting where everybody's learning, not just kind of like they're telling us what they want us to hear, kind of thing.
so basically, from what I've clearly understand, is that we started by discussing the go-to person. So I guess we need to come up with a plan for a go-to person to able to guide the landlord with different steps or different questions. And based on everything else you discussed, is that what, because I think that's what you started saying at the beginning.
Well, the suggestion is that we have, there are people within the council who know housing.
Okay.
And they would be great people for landlords. Be able to call and say, and just ask the question, I'm having a problem with this. Who do I need to call?
Okay.
Where can I get information, or where can I get help? And I'm saying that's with tenant related
Okay.
issues.
All right. So we could definitely talk about that, I guess, put together, or maybe have some volunteer to see who can we assign, or I guess, I don't know, Natalie, is that something that we could work on, or?
I think that's a committee issue. I mean, that's something that I think it's a great idea for us to really look at, pulling together what resources we can offer to landlords, resource information. And anybody on this call who's aware or knows anyone else who's involved in housing and could help us identify what those resources are, if they'll just shoot them over to you, Yamali, your email is going to
Okay.
be on the last slide. I think we can pull all that information together. And what I hear Ms. Corbett saying is just make that available to our landlords. And so I think this is a good idea for people to think about, and just send over information to you over the next month so we can maybe present it at the next meeting. I think it's a good idea.
Can I say something else?
All right. Sure.
May I say something else? That would also be a really good thing to be able to say to landlords as they're being called, as we're having the discussion with them about partnering with us, that and just offer, if you're having certain issues, we have a list available of resources that I can easily send to you, so that in other words, it gives them that list themselves. You understand what I'm saying? Because if we
So it's
got
kind of a generic list of information that we would provide anyway. Information
right,
about
if they
if
have
they have
questions about,
tenants about who need help with employment, if they have tenants who need help with benefits, if they have tenants who have issues and need help with record expungement, we just provide this resource list.
exactly.
I see what you're saying.
That's going to give them that, wow, this is really going to be beneficial, and let them know that we keep that list updated and that we'll be glad to provide that information to them. It's going to make them kind of stay connected. And it's kind of like meeting someone for the first time, and then you get really good information. And so the next time you go to a meeting, you're looking for that person because you kind of want to bump into them. And so the hope would be that the landlords want to keep bumping into us.
Okay.
So I wanted just to jump in. I know you're ready to move on, Yamali and Natalie, but I just wanted to say, I asked a specific question because I heard the term resource, and that's something that the Supportive Services Subcommittee will be discussing later on today. A resource. There's a specific audience, but of course we know a resource guide or tool could be used by any individual as long as they had access to it. So thank you.
So we could definitely, I guess, add that to our prioritized list that we have. Slide number 4, some of the action items that we're going to be working on next. So for what I hear is we're, getting the script together. We're going to get together with Jasmine and Lakeisha to work on the list, and we could definitely prioritize action number 2 be the get together to find a list for the landlord contact person. Sorry, my phone rang. For the landlord contact go-to person per se, we could say that. Any other things that we
Is your support
feel as a committee that we could prioritize?
Is your support services or provider committee, whatever it's called, is that committee is actually working on resources?
I'm sorry, I was looking for my buttons, trying to get my screen right. So I don't want to speak before we've had the conversation, but I do know that that's something that will be discussed. We just shared, and you should have received that yesterday, a resource list for medical service providers. But that's something that will be discussed today. Of course, the decision has not been made. That meeting will start at 3:30 today, but I will bring this up. For of course, any guide or any resource information that is created by any of the 3 subcommittees will be shared appropriately with the other councils, so that we don't hold this information for us. Then it's really not serving its benefit. We're serving all of Wake County returning citizens, so we need to get it in everyone's hands, and it may be in your hands, but you may disseminate it to 50 other people or even 3 other people. So stay tuned and come to the 3:30 meeting.
Plug. She does
That's a
not
plug,
miss an
Lenarda.
opportunity.
That's a plug.
Yes, yes. She never misses the opportunity
Everybody.
to plug.
That's everybody. But we all have to work. So we all will have
That's
to
it.
be working. So
That's right.
let me, I'm sorry. I stopped sharing because I was going to start typing into that screen. So give me a second. I'm sorry. And I'll switch it up.
All right. Okay, I guess we were talking about prioritizing action item that we need. And I was just asking, was there any other items that we would need to add in terms of action items that we need to prioritize for the first part of the discussion? If not, we could just move on to the area number 2, which actually revisit the benefit of joining HMIS. If anybody have joined or can give us any benefits on as far as joining HMIS, since we had a meeting with them the last time where they shared what they do.
Yeah, and let me know if I can share any additional information. I know Eric and I gave a pretty quick rundown on HMIS the last meeting, but just as a refresher, that's the Homelessness Management Information System that is housed here at the Raleigh-Wake Partnership to End and Prevent Homelessness. And Eric Dahl and Chloe Pearson are my colleagues that are in the HMIS department. What the benefits, just to reiterate, would be is connection to other agencies that are providing support or prevention assistance for anyone experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness. And so many of you might already know a little bit about the Access Hub, where callers are able to reach a support staff and get referrals to agencies that can assist them with their housing. And I think just to improve our partnership with all agencies that are providing services for people experiencing housing crisis, it would just be another great way to stay connected. But if more, if a smaller meeting is ever required or looked into, if anyone needs one, I'd be happy to just share my information again in the chat. If you want just a more deep rundown on HMIS and the benefits of joining, I'd be happy to share that.
Hey, Allison, we actually have the next slide, Lenarda, if you'll go 2 slides down. So this is actually changing up to our second priority.
Okay.
So this part of the meeting really is what Yamali was just doing is kind of wrapping up our last action steps for priority 1. And then now what we're transitioning into is priority number 2. And so I thought it was really important, Allison, for us to bring back the information about HMIS. And so what we did previously is our transitional housing partners, and some are actually represented on this call, but we actually had a meeting with you guys and the transitional housing partners that have worked with us to talk about those benefits, how they become involved with HMIS, and what the next steps looked like. I think Jasmine, and I'm not sure if Eric was a part of that meeting, but when we look at this priority as a subcommittee, guys, what I want you to think about is this is one of the ways we can go and achieve the second priority. And that priority, there we go, is to collaborate with community partners, including the Housing Coalition, the Partnership to Prevent Homelessness, and other agencies so that we can advocate for affordable housing. So what we want to throw out is reconsidering your involvement with the HMIS system and possibly looking at joining the COC, the Wake COC Continuum of Care, are ways for us to achieve this priority. And so just want to throw those ideas out and talk a little bit about that. Allison, I can't see the list. Is Eric actually on this call?
I don't think he is, but if there's anything I can take back to him, I'd be happy to.
Okay. Just want to open it up for discussion about to the rest of the committee members. What are your thoughts about HMIS, those who participated in the small group session that we had, and those of you who may not have been on the committee when we did that? Are you interested in learning more about HMIS and how your agency or what role your agency can play in that process? What are your thoughts? And that's to everybody.
So, hey, Natalie, this is Leslie with Southlight. I'm definitely interested. I wasn't in the meetings before. This is one of my first meetings, so thank you to you and Leonardo for inviting me. This is something that I've been thinking about, wanting to be a part of. So I would be glad to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would want to hear back from the team, Allison's team? And I think last time we just scheduled a 30-minute meeting where they walked us through the process of joining HMIS, and then also the benefits and how that links you to other agencies that are trying to do exactly what we said, priority 2, advocate for affordable housing and address the homelessness issue on a larger scale. As a subcommittee, going back to what Ms. Corbett said, we are a small piece of a larger body, and our work is a small piece of a larger body of work. And so as a subcommittee representing the council, what role do you all want to play and what's happening on the big scale to prevent homelessness or to address homelessness?
I have a question. And I think the young lady said she's from Southlight. Is Southlight not already participating in HMIS?
From my understanding, we're not.
You're not, okay. So I know most of the groups that work with the homeless, participate.
And so
So we don't
I
have.
was just wondering how much information would you really have privy to? Because there would be only certain pieces that you would be able to access anyway. I used to work with it when I worked at Raleigh Rescue Mission. We had to do HMIS.
Mhm.
And even on my classes that I taught, I had to do the HMIS reports.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that we take on a lot sometimes, but I'm wondering how many folks are going to really be able to keep up with all that extra reporting and work if it's not a part of what their agency is doing.
Yeah, that's what we will explore at another meeting. That's exactly
Okay.
why we're trying to find out who's interested in participating in that meeting, because I think it begs a deeper dive into benefits versus responsibility. And so we can certainly connect you, Leslie, with Allison and her team. There's some other people who work on the council who are interested, who may not be at this meeting. So I'll connect with you, Allison, to set something up for a small group of us to explore that some more.
I
So
as well was interested. My name is Charmaine Joyner. I'm with Project Catch of Salvation Army, Wake County.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Great program.
Thank you.
All right. Are there any other individuals who would be interested or want us to contact them? If so, just reach out to Yamali and her email. Like I said, her email, we'll drop her email in the chat, but it is on the last slide for further contact. And then we'll look at doing that. So the other option or opportunity for us to really impact affordable housing and what's being done in our area is to look at the Wake County COC, which I think is 2 slides down, Leonardo, or slide 9.
Here.
And to just have a conversation about that. The COC meets monthly on the second Mondays. This is more information about them. We will send this PowerPoint out so that you have their information, but it is an organization that you may consider joining. Go onto their website to explore more about their work groups, to see what work is already being done. We can be a voice. I am a part of the COC, but I am one of a few people who are at the table having the conversation about homelessness prevention, intervention as it pertains to our population of people. And so I just say that everybody who's interested in supporting our participants should explore whether or not you can achieve a greater level of input by working through the COC as well. So the next couple of slides really just talks about this larger group of agencies that are representative across the county, but there are COCs in almost, I think every county in this state, there is a COC that meets, and they're talking about what we're saying we want to achieve. And so I think we should be involved. I mean, at least for those of you who are on the call who are interested, to go and hear the information and see where you can play an active role in what's being done. Then you have an opportunity to bring that back to this subcommittee to guide our work.
So does the individual join or does the organization become a part of the COC?
Both. It could be both. And I think that's why each of us should explore it, because you may join as an individual or you may join as a representative of your agency. And when you go to the website, which I think is on the next slide, Leonardo, it'll give you all the information about how to do that and whether or not it benefits you as an individual or as a representative of a larger agency.
I just wanted to say, I just asked the question just to make sure it was clarified for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the call, are there any individuals on this call who are involved with the COC or are aware of it?
I have been in the past by virtue of the organization I worked with, and we had a rep, Rick Fitzgerald, who attended the meetings and brought the information back to us. But we worked very closely with the COC.
And then
Yeah.
Green Chair is also a part of the COC. And then I'm a representative of their nomination funding committee as well.
Hey, Natalie. Yes, also as partnership staff, we are on the COC calls and we do provide support for those committees as well for coordinated entry and just discussing policies and it's on there.
Yeah, it's just an opportunity, I think, for our voices to be heard a little bit louder and to impact change on a larger scale. So we wanted to provide this information. This will be in the PowerPoint that you receive. Follow the links and do some homework, guys, and see if it's a good fit for you.
Absolutely.
Next slide, Nellie.
Yeah, I think Yamali's, yeah. Did we lose Yamali? I don't think so. Yamali?
I'm here, sorry. I'm talking and
Oh, you.
my mute is on. Sorry, everybody. So I guess we'll go into the next step on the announcement. And to wrap it up.
So,
Want me to go over that.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so I guess we have our criminal record expungement that from no to yes, that meets every Thursday at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that's Tuesday, October 7th and November 4th of this year. So I guess they meet on Thursdays, October 7th and November 4th at 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we have the Wake LRC YouTube page. I guess I'm getting two things from here.
One thing from the expungement, Yamali, is that meets every first Thursday.
Oh, okay, because I'm reading from I'm reading from the PowerPoint and the Word document. So I was like, is that together? So I guess I'm going to focus on one.
Yeah, it's every first Thursday.
Every first Thursday. Sorry, everybody. I'm still learning how to do this.
That's okay.
And our next council meeting is on October the 28th at 1 p.m. to 2:30. I'm sure Leonardo will be more than happy to send us the reminder invite. And our next housing committee is, let's see, it's November the 18th at 12:30 p.m. to 1 p.m. And I guess that concludes our slide here for you guys. And I think the last page does show our contact for myself, Diana, and Natalie. If anyone would like to reach out to us, we'll truly appreciate that. And I guess I'll open up the floor for any comment, concerns, or anything else, since we have a little bit more time left, just a few minutes, if anybody has anything that we didn't talk about or missed.
Or announcements, exciting things that are going on.
Yes, I'm glad you said that, because I wasn't quick enough. I just want to put a reminder out there that we have the high school equivalency credentialing program being offered here at the NC Works Center. It's an ongoing registration not registration. It's an ongoing program. So a person can start at any time. I shared a flyer yesterday. All of the council members should have received the flyer for that. So please get that out, get that word out. To anyone in the community. Doesn't even have to be reentry participants. In addition to that, the other thing I wanted to share was that the NC Works Career Center now has a food and nutrition services case manager here on site every Thursday from 9 to 1 o'clock. I also shared that, but I just wanted to, sometimes we may miss the email. I wanted to make sure you actually heard that. And the benefit for that service is that we're not providing over-the-shoulder support in the traditional way, which means an individual sits at a computer and gets assistance as they need it. In the way that we're providing the service to meet our reentry clients' needs, sometimes they have some issues with using a computer. Maybe they've been out of the loop for a while. So we've just eliminated that. And the case manager who's here, her name is Annie, she actually completes the application for them. So it's more of an interview. She asks questions, she completes the form for them, makes it really simple, and preserves the individual's pride if there is an issue with reading or some other literacy concern. So those are my two announcements.
Hey, one other thing, Leonarda, Donna had in the chat a correction for our expungement the November expungement. Can you make sure we have that date right? And
Yes.
If it's wrong, we'll correct it on the slide before we send it out. But she's got November 2nd.
Yes. So you all were right. The expungement clinic is held on the first Thursday. However, more than likely going forward, starting this November and probably all the way through next year and and going forward. We will move it up for just the month of November to the first Tuesday, and that's going to happen. The flyer is that I sent out yesterday is halfway right. It says Thursday, November 2nd, but it's actually Tuesday, November 2nd. So the date, the November 2 is right. It's just it'll be held on that Tuesday because our partners have some other events going on. So we just moved it a few days, but we kept it in that same week. I also wanted to point out, Yamali said that the November meeting is on the 18th. Just notice that at the end of the year, we move our meetings up, whether it's a subcommittee meeting or a council meeting. It's moved up to accommodate for the holiday schedule. So that's it.
Cool. Any other announcements?
Yes, this is Diana. I apologize for coming in late. I've been out here with Reverend Spearman. We are protesting in front of the Governor's Administration building in reference to the pardon of Dante Sharp. That's why I was late getting on. But I did wanted to remind everyone that we as a community have been meeting with our city council, our county commissioners, faith-based community around our housing issue. And we've been meeting every other Monday. And so we're meeting this Monday, the 27th at Macedonia New Life. It starts at 6 o'clock, I think. And so it has really been a productive and effective meeting. Lots of information is shared in those meetings. And we have been able to service, not as fast as we would like to, but we've been able to service some people that have been displaced, those that have been directly impacted as well. But there's a lot of information that is given out during those meetings that I believe that will benefit all of us and definitely will, if this is our passion of doing this type of work, it will, I guess, will set your soul on fire to be more compassionate about this work and understanding that this work is real. It is a reality. Our city is changing and it's changing fast, and the demand is so high that it is the reality is just hard to catch up. But with that being said, that it is a beautiful thing to see all of our government officials coming together, putting our heads together, and being involved in our issue around homelessness in Raleigh.
Thank you for sharing that, Diana.
You're welcome.
So that's Monday night at Macedonia, 2004 Rock Quarry Road, 6 p.m.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Thanks. Great to see you guys.
All right, good to see you. No more
Have a good
meetings,
day,
Lakeisha.
No, we do got
Good day,
one at 3.
everyone.
Don't we got one this evening?
We have one this evening?
Wait, you in a supportive service meeting?
Well, yeah.
Yes.
I'll see you
Yes.
this evening. Thank you, Lenora.
Thank you, Lakeisha. Yeah, we
I'm
got 2 more meetings today. Thank you, Lakeisha.
Okay. I'll see you then.
And for those that are still on the call, Nelly, I'm so sorry I didn't say this earlier, but today, the date being tomorrow, but today marks our 1-year anniversary of us, all of the subcommittee meetings. Yes. Tomorrow is the actually date, September 24th.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
That is nice. Oh,
We'll
I
have
didn't
to
know.
send that. We'll have to put that in the information that we send out.
Yes. We'll send
Happy
it out.
anniversary.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Happy anniversary,
All right,
guys.
see y'all later.
Bye-bye.